Hello everybody, welcome back to Kanga TV, home of North Melbourne fans, and welcome to the home of the most united, excited fan base across the entire AFL competition. It's Friday morning, the 21st of November, and we have just gone through two massive nights of the 2025 National Draft. Our senior list for North Melbourne ahead of season 2026 is now complete. It was not without the drama, and it was not without a little bit of luck going our way, but I think I can speak on behalf of the entire fan base sitting here this morning and reflecting on the events that have occurred over the last two nights. We've nailed it. We have done such an excellent job. The recruiting staff and the talent scouting staff over the past few weeks and months have really delivered on the big stage. Let's talk about all of the drama and all of the moves that North Melbourne made over the last couple of days, and let's meet the newest members of the North Melbourne Football Club. Heading into the draft, we had picks 25, 26 and 46 at our disposal, but rumours and news sort of started about a week prior to the national draft. We were looking to move higher up in the pecking order. We did engage in a pick swap with Carlton very, very early on in night one. Picks 11 and 54 made their way to North Melbourne in exchange for picks 25 and 46 from this year's draft and a future second round pick in next year's draft. Now, of course, given all the bids and all of the father-sons that were taking place in that first round and how compromised this draft was going to be, that initial pick 11 was pushed back slightly. It ended up being pick 16, and we ended up securing Lachy Dovaston, the electric small forward from the Eastern Rangers. It's so exciting to have this X-factor, crumbing pressure small forward at our disposal. We haven't had a player like this at North Melbourne since the days of Lindsay Thomas. I spoke about Cal Toomey's Phantom Draft in my draft preview. I've said previously, and I think it's sort of recognised amongst the competition as a whole, that is usually the best guideline as to where a club and where clubs will go and the way that the draft will sort of be shaped over the 2-day period. But that was very quickly thrown out the window. A couple of unexpected picks earlier, actually from Richmond, pretty early on in the top 10, allowed Lachy to fall down to pick 16 and to make his way over to North Melbourne. He was expected to go at pick 13 a little bit earlier, and we were expected to take Latrell Pickett, who ended up going, I think, at pick 12 to the D's, so maybe he went a little bit sooner than expected as well. But Lachy Dovaston is exactly the kind of player that we need at our disposal. A lot of the best sides in the competition have that real pesty small forward, and the one thing I really, really like about Lachy as well, it's not just what he can do on the football field, but it's what he's going to be able to do off field as well. We already saw some really cocky and real smart Alex sort of comments that were made throughout his media appearances on draft night and that have sort of followed through on social media over the last sort of 48 hours as well. Having players who are marketable, having players who can really appeal to the fans, and particularly a younger fan base that may find themselves a little bit disengaged given the form slump over the past 6 to 7 years on field. I think these guys are as important to the club off field as they are on field, and no doubt he's going to have a massive impact on field and immediately on field. I think he is just about coming in as our best, most complete small forward, which really says something about the guys who are at the helm at the moment. I've said this in my preview on Wednesday, and I've said this over the past few months as well. While all of our small forwards offer really nice things, not all of them are complete players yet. You've got Jacob Constandy, is a great pressure small forward, but he struggles to hit the scoreboard and he struggles to get himself involved in the game for long periods of time. Cooper Harvey knows how to hit the scoreboard, but he isn't as great defensively as someone like a Constantine. Then Robert Hansen Jr. can push up the ground a little bit and he has exciting moments and patches, but yet to be that complete player. We've got a lot of almost players in that small forward position. So hopefully Dovaston can not only come in and be our best small forward from the get-go, but hopefully he can inspire those around him to work harder and to lift. I think the energy that he's going to bring on and off the field is going to be something that we really, really need, something that we've been lacking. Having these characters and having these guys who can really engage with the younger generation and can be engaging in the media and across social media as well. The game has changed so much, particularly over the past few years, and the social presence, how important these characters are and how important it is that we start seeing these individuals and this flair and this swagger sort of come back in these players. And so to have someone like a Lachy Dovaston on our list who we know can do it on field, who may be able to do it off field as well, I think is going to be great. I think he's going to be a great asset for us. And like I said, he comes into this North Melbourne side as our best small forward. So it's really going to put pressure on the guys who have been rotated through those small forward positions throughout the year and tried and tested to up their game as well. So there's nothing like a little bit of fresh meat and a fresh face to come in and really set a fire alight in that forward line. And I think that's something that Lachy Dovaston is bound to do for North Melbourne. Our second pick in the national draft fell to the start of day 2, and the footy gods were well and truly on our side. Blake Thredgold, leading into the national draft, was widely touted as the best available key position player, so not tied to an academy or not tied to a father-son pick, and he was ready for the taking. He fell to North Melbourne. We selected him with pick 26. He's come from Sturt in South Australia, and I absolutely love this kid. He's been nicknamed the human blanket, and it seems like not much is getting past him in that backline. And the selection of Blake Thredgold, a lot of it, yes, did come down to luck because he was still available when we had our selection at pick 26. But the selection of Blake Thredgold took me back about 5 weeks to the end of the trade period, and there was a fleeting moment where North Melbourne were linked to GWS defender Lachy Dovaston. Of course, was meant to go to St Kilda and had requested a trade to St Kilda very, very early on in the piece. St Kilda in the 11th hour turning their back, and North Melbourne swooped in, asked the question, and then ultimately decided to walk away from that deal. Brady Rawlings was very, very firm in his stance from the start of the trade period that they were going to back in the key position players and the key defenders that we had at our disposal at the helm at North Melbourne. Didn't go down the route of trading in a key position defender. And I think all of us really felt like it was a need for North Melbourne, but there was no key defenders on the market during trade period that were attractive enough for North Melbourne to actually throw the kitchen sink at and try and bring across. Jordan Butts was the only one, but he opted to stay at Adelaide. So sitting here now, I'm so glad that we stuck to our guns and didn't go down the route of bringing in Lachy Dovaston, because at the time I said, I think it would be a great acquisition for us. I think he could be a good player for us, but probably hadn't shown enough to solidify his position as a best 23 player or as a needle mover and someone that was going to really make a drastic difference to us in the short, medium and long-term future. We sit here now 6 weeks on. We've brought in Blake Thredgold, who not only is going to be a great asset for us for the next 10 to 15 years, but his attitude and his gratitude upon making his way to Arden Street over the last 24 hours has been absolutely infectious. Sitting here as a supporter, he's made me feel so valued and has made me feel so excited about being a North Melbourne supporter, and the fact that he is so G'd up about coming across to North Melbourne. He's been on socials basically since the second that he was drafted, connecting with fans, connecting with fan content and replying to comments and just getting so immersed already in the shin bonus spirit. He changed his Instagram bio within 2 hours of being drafted to North Melbourne to include the team. And it's just these little things. Again, we scrutinize every single thing that is done and said by all of these players, good and bad. And I understand that being here and having a platform like this, I am part of it, but I'm so thrilled to be able to share those experiences over the past sort of 12 to 14 hours from someone who's just been drafted to North Melbourne, the chatter that goes on and the jokes that go on. Oh, it's such a shame. Must be so disappointed to go to North Melbourne. I've never really cared what opposition supporters have had to say or think about the club, but sitting here and having watched on over the past sort of 12, 14, 16 hours, the response from Thredgold in particular, his excitement is infectious, and he just looks so G'd up and so excited and really, really thrilled and ready, genuinely excited to come across to Arden Street. And as a supporter, it's so hard to not feed off that energy and to get really, really optimistic about what will be possible in season 2026 and beyond. These two picks in particular, Dovaston and Thredgold, went against every fear that I had about what this draft could turn into, and we've finally broken a pattern that we've seen with North Melbourne over the past few seasons. We've finally addressed key needs that this list has and that this football club has. We've got a gaping hole in that forward line and we've filled it. We've got a gaping hole in that defense, in that key position department, and we've finally filled it. We've finally gone for needs rather than best available. We've got the midfielders and we know we've got a stack of talent that could run through that midfield. We've finally been able to complement them with a really exciting, dynamic, electric, X-factory small forward and a really reliable key position defender who will be able to just stop anything and anyone for decades to come down back for North Melbourne. This is exactly what we needed this draft to be. We have gone in with a plan and we've executed it to perfection. Now, I said a little bit of luck has gone our way, of course, having those particular players available to us when our picks have come along, but then we too have followed through and we've made those selections. And with draft night for North Melbourne, it's been a nervous wait for fans, especially over the past few seasons. Who are we going to bring in and what is North Melbourne going to do? And I think that action over the past 48 hours is what's generated such excitement amongst the fans and has really unified the fan base. I keep across socials and I see a lot of conversation that goes on amongst supporters, and I have the privilege of engaging with so many of you on a weekly, even a daily basis. And so I really understand the thoughts and feelings and fears amongst supporters in the lead up to big events like this. But on Wednesday night in particular, and it's flown on to Thursday night as well, the supporter base is just come together in a way that I have not seen for North Melbourne fans for a very, very long time to come. It feels like there's genuine positivity in the air, and that is really rippling through across the fan base as an entirety. And I think the moves we made 12 months ago to secure Matt Whitlock, and then again, the moves that were made to push ourselves up the draft order this year, they're risky and they're bold, but I actually think that the moves that have been made over the past 2 drafts now have been really, really smart. And I think overall, if you look at the 2 drafts now, 24 and 25, it kind of looks like initially that risk has paid off. Now the work really begins and the onus is on the development staff and on the coaching staff to be able to bring out the best of all of these players and to turn them into long-term really good players for us who can contribute to a successful side in hopefully the near future. But I think for the recruiting staff and for Brady, he's done a really, really good job. They, I should say, as a collective, have done a really, really good job. It goes back to Banch and it goes back to Cooper Trembath in the mid-season draft. It goes back to bringing in a Luke Parker and a Jack Darling in the trade period previously. Even the likes of a Charlie Spargo. He's a really, really hard worker. He's got a really, really high standard. And if he can bring a little bit of hard work and if he can bring a little bit of that into this playing group, that's not going to harm anyone. As a whole and as a group and as a collective, we've got to work really, really hard now to bring the best out of each other. So I think the way that this fan base has come together over the last 48 hours has just been so special, and it's been a really, really nice thing to see, because if we can unite and we can feel excited about the players coming through the door and the moves that are being made, then that's going to be able to be felt by the club, and in turn their excitement and their positivity will come back onto us. And it really unites a club that so often over the past 5-6 years has felt a little bit broken and a little bit disengaged. And maybe this is the start of the next chapter for North Melbourne as a collective and as one. With our final selection in the national draft, we bid on Kobe Coulson from the Gold Coast Suns Academy. The Suns matched the bid and took him, so we picked 47. We bid on Jack Ison. He was connected to Carlton, and Carlton matched that bid as well. So we picked 48 in the national draft. We took Hugo Mikunda. He is a midfield small forward from the Geelong Falcons. It's a pretty good footy factory down at the Falcons. I probably would have liked us to continue on this needs basis. I think there was still a key position player, a forward, who was available. He went to Adelaide a couple of picks later. However, there has been a lot of praise thrown Hugo's way. Apparently a really, really hard worker, a really clean user of the footy, and a great leader as well. So we welcome him in, and he can be part of that group as well that's fighting for spots. And again, competition for spots has never been a bad thing. Good users of the footy has definitely never been a bad thing at North Melbourne. So that's it. we sit here at the end of the 2025 national draft. Our senior list is now complete. The rookie draft is still to come, and we may be adding a couple of extra players to our stocks, and I'm looking forward to seeing who we bring through and meeting the final players that will make our 2026 list. It's been a big few days. It's been a big few weeks, I think, for North fans, and the national draft is one of those things, especially for clubs like North that have been down the bottom of the ladder for so long, that allows fans to feel a little bit of hope and to feel a little bit of optimism and feel positive heading into the new season. And I think a lot of North fans are oozing and brimming with confidence over the past couple of days. That's sort of how I felt anyway. And the moves that have been made and not been made over the last 6 weeks in the trade period and even earlier on from last season, it's a good position to be in. I think I feel really, really comfortable and really good about where we're sitting at the moment. And no doubt you guys are feeling the same. I would love to hear your thoughts. As always, national draft's over. What do you make of the guys we've brought through the door? Feel free to leave all of your thoughts in the comments down below. And as always, we can keep chatting over on socials, Kanga TV show across Instagram, Facebook, X, and on email. We'll be back very, very soon to cover all of the North news here on the channel. Until then, go Roos.